Before we get into the video, make sure y'all like, subscribe if you're new. I mean, come on, what are you doing? If you're not subbed to me by now, my content is fire for chats from his news videos, stop motions, tour reviews, tour photography breakdowns, music occasionally. My Instagram is linked down below. And yeah, let's get straight to it. Oh boy, another delicious meter. What am I gonna ramble about now? Well, we have here Voyager class animated Starscream. Came out in what, 2008? And well, this is one of the Voyager class figures of all time. I gotta say, this figure is a mess, especially in jet mode. I mean, just looking at it, I mean, the springs don't even hold the arms in place in certain angles. Just look at that. They just flop around, flippy floppy. Transformation sucks. At least it has working landing gear, which is lacking on many Voyagers and even leader classes, with pinned-in rolling wheels on all three wheels here, which is very nice. But I mean, like, just look at the legs sticking out, the arms sticking out. It's just a terrible, terrible jet mode, horrible seeker mode. I consider this mold worse than the classics seeker mold, and definitely worse than the Earthrise one, because I always see people hating on the classic seeker mold and the newer Earthrise seeker mold, but definitely this one is definitely the worst. But I mean, the cockpit doesn't open up actually, so well, that's another L that this thing takes. Jesus Christ. Well, I mean, I guess on the plus side, some of the paint apps is alright. I mean, the Decepticon logo is done in bronze. You got some red paint and black paint, but man, this is just a dumb. It's just alright. So, I guess you're gonna flip in the landing gear, flip that in, and you press this button. It's just like the nose cone goes in, and it's supposed to like flip out, but the spring like just doesn't work too good, and I don't even think it's because of age. I think when the figure came out, people were having problems with this spring-loaded automorph transformation gimmick. They were trying to do what the movie line was doing. It's just stupid. Flip out the feet, and I gotta angle the camera up. And I will admit, the robot mode isn't as bad and messy looking as the jet mode, but there is still some major issues. You compare him next to his cartoon model, and yeah, this wing piece is a mess, the arms are a mess, the null rays look nothing like how they do in the show. I mean, if I want to do some pluses, at least the light piping is cool. You don't have to have the light directly like this to get it to light up. I mean, that still looks pretty good. Just having lights on nearby, even the mouth lights up, which is pretty cool. Head sculpt, let me zoom in here and get in there on the head. It's good. This is one thing that I like, but then the head articulation, I mean, the nose cone is like in the way of the whole head here, which isn't even in the cartoon model. So there's just a lot of terrible things going on with this thing. And to top it off, he has the infamous gorilla arms that plagued so many figures in the 90s, the 2000s. We don't have that problem now, the past decade or so, but you know, 10, 15, 20, 25 years ago, a lot of figures suffered this, where you move the arms up and you try to hinge the elbow up, but you can't. You have to rotate it, then hinge it up. But then the hands are stuck in this permanent position like this. And all he can do is beat his chest like a gorilla. And pieces are flying. I don't even know what that was. Oh, it's the hand. The hand joints like to pop off, and speaking of hand joints, well, when I go over articulation, I talked a little bit about the head. The head goes up a little bit, down a tiny bit, slight wiggly waggly. There would be a little bit more if this freaking piece wasn't all around the head. And the arms can go the way you want them to, go out about that much. They got the swivel, and it goes up about 90 degrees. And the hand articulation, I gotta admit, is pretty cool. The thumb moves in and out, and all 4 fingers clamp inward like that, which I do admit is very nice. And there's this weird feature, I don't know why it's on it, but the null rays can like spring forward, and these 2 pieces flip out on his forearms. I mean, I guess that's kind of cool looking. I don't know. There were missiles in here. I don't think I have the missiles anymore. Didn't even bother to look because they're clear plastic missiles, so it looks ridiculous when you plug them in. But moving along with the articulation, there's no waist swivel. I mean, just look at how small his waist is. That boy got a size 2 jeans, am I right?
That wasn't funny.
His legs kick forward that much, back this much, outward the full splits, which is good. And you got thigh rotation, but it's on like this weird angle, so I mean, Jesus. They could go inward due to transformation. You got about 90-degree bend on the elbows. The feet are on ball joints, so you could get them up, back, get a little bit of pivot. They could clamp inward, which is pretty good. The articulation isn't too bad, but you know, the gorilla arms and the head really make this thing terrible to pose around, and there's no real overall features with this guy. I mean, these pieces rotate out for whatever reason. I don't know why you would want them out, because it just, if you're displaying figures on a shelf, it just makes more room in the back to take up space, so I don't know why you would do that. But yes, so if I were to rate this figure, well, I am rating this figure, 4 tasty treats out of 10. And I say this because the jet mode is a complete mess. It looks terrible. It's probably one of the worst Voyager class jet modes I've ever seen. That looks like something you would see on a core class or even a deluxe figure at times. And the robot mode would have been nice if it was slightly more accurate to the cartoon, didn't have weird redesign choices like the null rays and the wing sections, and if he didn't have the infamous terrible gorilla arms that have plagued so many figures from 15-20 years ago. So yeah, 4 tasty treats out of 10, but I do want to say he does have some cool parts going on. You know, the light piping works nicely. I do like the hand articulation. The lower legs aren't too bad either. So, and the landing gear is nice that all wheels are pinned in and they could roll. But those couple things are about it. That's all I can say good about this figure. It is trash. If you find this figure online, do not pay anything over like 10-15 bucks, which is about how much I got this guy for almost 2 years ago. So yeah. That is the review. See you all later. Congratulations, you have made it to the end of this video.